So it wouldn't be 2025 if we didn't have another studio to talk about regarding layoffs. This year is a massacre out there in the gaming industry, and it's no different than 2024. 2025 has brought us an ungodly amount of studios that some of them have even shut down, but most of them are just experiencing massive layoffs that are affecting the industry and their company as a whole. Now, we have Crytek. Now, if you guys don't know what the company Crytek is, I gotta imagine you're probably living under a rock, but that's okay. Crytek made the legendary series that redefined the PC gaming landscape known as Crysis, and they unfortunately have been chasing, as it seems anyway, the live service aspect element of gaming. And now, after announcing last year that they were going to put Crysis 4 on hold, everybody knew that layoffs were eventually going to be coming, because that's usually what happens after you announce you're putting your game on hold. And here we are in 2025, and they're announcing layoffs. So let's get into this video, guys, from the gamer. But of course, before we do, if you are new here, just consider hitting that subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it, and like the video to push us out into that YouTube algorithm. Now, unfortunately for me, Crytek was one of those companies where I loved Crytek, right? Crytek, their engine was awesome, at least back in the day anyway. It's kind of been overshadowed by Unreal Engine, obviously. And Crysis was literally that video game back in the day that would redefine the PC gaming landscape. It was a meme after a certain point. It was a meme where if your PC could run Crysis, you were considered a god, right? One of the first questions that people will ask whenever a PC came up, or someone's PC came up, they would be like, well, can it run Crysis? Can it run Crysis? That was the question that people were asking, and rightfully so. Crysis was one of the most amazing games visually back in the day, and it still holds up even till today. Its graphics were insane. The engine was insane. And honestly, the first experience was incredible. I had a great time playing Crysis. It was one of the best sci-fi stories of its day. And yet here we are, unfortunately, where Crytek views the, I guess, live service games as what they want to double down on. But let's talk about it. So the summary says that 15% of Crytek's employees were just laid off as the studio announced that development on the new Crysis game had been paused. The studio claims that while Hunt Showdown 1986 is still growing, Crytek cannot continue as before and remain financially sustainable. Now, they have an employee base of about 400, not 40, my bad. They have about 400 people working at the company. So they're laying off a little over 60 developers, which is not a small number. 60 people are getting laid off, and that's more than what a lot of these other studios that are much smaller have been laying off. Now, Crytek is a huge company because having over 400 employees is considered a big company at this point in the gaming industry. You have other AAA developers that are rocking with about 150 to 200 employees, so this team is about double that, right? So you also got to keep in mind, too, they have a game engine that they do utilize, which they sell and they make money from. So a lot of their developers and people that work there are working on that engine as well, not just video games. It says, like so many of our peers, we aren't immune to the complex, unfavorable market dynamics that have hit our industry these past several years. The statement reads, it pains us greatly to share today that we must lay off an estimated 15% of our around 400 employees. The layoffs affect development teams and shared services. This has not been an easy decision to make, as we deeply appreciate the hard work of our talented teams. After putting the development of the next Crysis game on hold in Q3 of 2024, we have been trying to shift developers over to Hunt Showdown. While Hunt Showdown 1986 is still growing, Crytek cannot continue as before and remain financially sustainable. Even after ongoing efforts to reduce costs and cut operating expenses, we have determined that layoffs are inevitable to move forward. Crytek will offer affected employee severance packages and career assistance services. Now, at least they are doing that at the bare minimum and offering severances packages. But at the end of the day, man, this company is using the same excuse that every other company is, which is, oh, the industry is so terrible right now. We're all experiencing the layoffs. We're all experiencing the hurt right now. And then none of them want to actually have a conversation as to why they are potentially experiencing that hurt. The fact that you are doubling down as Crytek, right? Crytek, known for making amazing single-player video games such as Crysis. You are doubling down on the live service aspects of Hunt Showdown. I've never played Hunt. I've always been semi-interested, but I just never took it upon myself to actually play the game. But no matter how good that game may or may not be, the fact that you're chasing the live service aspect and you are choosing to put Crysis 4 on hold, which will probably make you more money ultimately at the end of the day if you sell it the right way, I just don't know if that's the right business move. I feel like they're kind of pigeonholed at this point. I feel like Crytek is kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place, because if they stop Hunt and focus on Crysis 4, if the game fails, they're done, right? Whereas if Hunt Showdown, if that's sustaining them, if that's actually making them money like they seem to say it is, then I can see why they would feel like they're stuck with having to continue that and pause development on Crysis 4. Now, keep in mind, guys, Crysis 4, like according to this headline, was announced 3 years ago. We haven't heard much about Crysis 4 since it was announced in 2022, the year after job listings appeared for a lead producer, lead AI programmer, and lead environment artist, hinting at a steady development, corroborated by Crytek CEO Avni Yerli, who said in 2024 that it had entered the early stages of development. It would have been the first new Crysis game since 2013, and not counting the remastered trilogy, but with today's news that the game is on ice for the foreseeable future, it's unclear who was laid off or when, if at all, Crytek will return to the series. So it seems to be a sad story again, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know why they're choosing to double down, as I would say, on this live service aspect of their video games, but I guess we're going to have to find out and see what's going to happen from here with Crysis, but it is still sad considering the legacy that they're leaving behind. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Hope you did enjoy, and if you did, consider leaving me a subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it if you get to like the video, comment, and let me know what you thought, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Hypnotic out.